What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Ultra League running Rayquaza, which you've seen plenty of times on the channel by now, but this time I'm running it with the recently buffed Aerial Ace, which obviously doesn't hit nearly as hard as Dragon Ascent or Hurricane, but it allows you to hit for much more consistent flying type damage since it's much cheaper to get to. Now in this video I ran two slightly different teams. I'll be honest, I've not played much of the Open Ultra League recently, and the last time I played I think I was running the triple shiny Cypher Evolution line in the low 2000s, so I wasn't really sure what my common threats were going to be, but I wanted to run a double dragon team and then have something to cover for Steelix, which I've heard is very rampant in the current meta, as well as fairies, specifically Tapu Fini, and as well Charizard, so Empoleon seemed like the perfect answer. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. If you could take away one move from any Pokemon in any league to make that meta more balanced, which Pokemon would you choose and which move would you remove and why? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, lead Empoleon into Charizard, so a very good lead matchup. The opponent's going to save swap into a Shadow Drapion. I immediately swap into my Haxorus. Honestly, could have stayed in for a bit with my Empoleon, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to shield the Crunch, and luckily no debuff. Now I can go for a Breaking Swipe, and this will allow me to very comfortably live the next Crunch and not really risk them farming me down. Also, the Breaking Swipe puts them into range where I can just fully counter farm them down, and I will come out with another charge move loaded to throw into what I assume to be the Charizard coming back in. So the opponent does come in with the Charizard. I'm hoping with the Breaking Swipe debuffing their attack I can make it to another move, but I'm barely not able to do so. We come in immediately with the Empoleon, and the opponent has Virizion in the back. And now this is a mistake by the opponent. They're clearly not running the Stone Edge coverage, but I don't know that, so what they should do is overfarm quite a lot in the matchup, and there they could force a shield, but Aerial Ace takes out the Virizion, and we're able to very easily take that first game. Sometimes it happens like that. Usually I do just leave out battles like that because you don't really gain much from it, but that was my first battle of the day, and you're going to see I did have quite a tough time running this team, so I kind of had to include a win like that. But into next game we see Pidgeot in the lead. They go for Feather Dance. I'm going to clear the debuff, come in with my Haxorus. The opponent tries to catch a Breaking Swipe, but I'm able to hold on to the energy. Also go for the Earthquake, which looks like a CMP tie, and it connects, and this is perfect. At this point I'm very happy. Steelix is one of the worst things Rayquaza could possibly see in the end game, so I'm happy to get it very low. I actually don't care that we didn't win Switch. It doesn't really matter. We've got a loaded Empoleon. They don't even debuff me with a Breaking Swipe, and as well they've got a Pidgeot which doesn't really want to see the Empoleon either. So here we see that they come in with Obstagoon. I'm going to go for the Hydro Cannon straight away. Doesn't deal that much damage in all honesty, but we come in with the Rayquaza, and I don't believe they're going to go for a Brave Bird here, and it is just a Feather Dance. Perfect for me. We do overfarm in this matchup. We go for the Breaking Swipe, and this will be enough damage even with the debuff to take out the Pidgeot, and now I can permanently debuff this Obstagoon with its attack, which is really nice, unless of course they get a Night Slash boost. But at this point I'm actually going to let this move go through. We should live it, but they actually go for Obstruct instead, debuffing my defense, raising theirs, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to shield. I'm going to bank this charge move since we are debuffed in our attack. Come back in with the Empoleon, make it to a Hydro Cannon. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. It does exactly that. Now the opponent is going to farm two back-to-back charge moves, but it doesn't matter. We can safely let this move go through. Night Slash takes me out, but we come in, we go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, and Breaking Swipe will be enough damage to take out the Obstagoon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game we see Giratina in the lead, so I'm going to stay in this lead matchup. They are running Dragon Breath, so I can't really afford to swap out anyways. We're going to go for the Drill Peck straight away, and this is not going to do too much damage, but it will start to add up over time, and the opponent is overfarming massively here, and I'm thinking the only reason to overfarm this much in a matchup like this is because they are running Shadow Force. So I'm going to respect the damage here. It is the Shadow Force, and that is really nice for me. We can now overfarm a little bit, go for the charge move. I assume they're running Dragon Claw as the other charge move, so it would be resisted. Drill Peck will be taking out the Giratina, and they come in with Virizion. We come in with our Haxorus, and the opponent comes in with their Steelix, and we are once again going to go straight for the Earthquake. But the opponent doesn't go for a CMP tie this time around. They shield up the Earthquake, and they get a massive Dragon Tail farm down, and this is one of the biggest issues for this team. I think I would have preferred to run Surf on my Haxorus just because we can hit for faster super effective damage. Here I had to call the bait there. I wasn't successful. They fully Earthquake me, and I just concede the match there. So you can see Steelix looks to be pretty problematic for this team here. Obviously, we did beat the first Steelix we saw, but into the next game, we're going to see a Greninja. So we save swap into Haxorus, gonna let the Night Slash go through, and the opponent comes in with their Shadow Gligar. Unfortunately, they get a 0-turn switch, so even though I'm at the back-to-back moves, I'm only going to get off one Breaking Swipe, but that's actually quite nice for us here. The opponent going to go for the Night Slash, take me out, and if they don't get a boost, we should be fine, and I should be able to outpace them to the full Waterfall farm down before they do reach that Earthquake, and we do barely get there just by one turn. We get the farm down, and they've got a Shadow Zapdos in the back now. One of the great things about electric types is that they don't take resisted damage from the water typing, or I mean, great for us since we are a water type, but here the opponent makes a very nice catch, catching the resisted Hydro Cannon onto Empoleon, so I'm going to bank a ton of energy, swap into my Rayquaza, and go for the catch here, as I'm able to catch a Night Slash, and they are in range where I can Dragon Tail, farm them down. They're going to come back in with the Zapdos. I know I am one fast move away from a charge move on my Empoleon, so the opponent over farms allow me to make it to the Breaking Swipe in time. At this point, I can just let the Rayquaza go down. They do actually get incredibly low just from the fast move damage there. Drill Peck takes us out, but the opponent is going to concede the match there, as there was nothing they can do, and I'm able to take that game. Into next game, we're going to see Shadow Snorlax in the lead, so a bit of a tricky one. We swap straight away, and unfortunately the opponent also save swaps into their Shadow Dragonite, but the worst thing here is I can grab a shield advantage, but they can just fully Dragon Breath farm me down, and the counter damage really did not do much up against the Dragonite either. Gonna wait out the switch clock and come in with my Empoleon, and at least with the debuff we should live a superpower, so I'm gonna let the first one go through. The opponent actually baits with a Dragon Claw. They go for a second charge move just before we make it to our own Hydro Cannon or Drill Peck, so I do shield that. We overfarmed just slightly, could have overfarmed a lot more than that, but I'm playing it safe. Drill Peck takes out the Dragonite, and they've got Shadow Machamp in the back. Now this is not ideal for me whatsoever. Gonna go for a Breaking Swipe here straight away. As soon as I get there, this will debuff their attack, and I'm hoping with that debuff we can shield once and then just fully farm them down. They will of course make it to a second Body Slam, but I'm hoping we can live that because of the debuff, although if it does not take us out, it will get us incredibly low, which it does, and now we won't be able to make it to two charge moves. Honestly, should have just gone for the Aerial Ace here as my only win condition if I land the Aerial Ace, but I'm not able to do so anyways. They do shield, they get to a charge move, Cross Chop will easily take out the Empoleon, and I do unfortunately lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Poliwrath in the lead. So going to say swap into my Haxorus, and the opponent isn't swapping out. So we go for the Breaking Swipe immediately. This will debuff their attack, and the Ice Punch is going to do less damage now. But since they're not swapping, I'm actually going to stay in here, and then I will overfarm in this matchup and go for another Breaking Swipe, throwing on the CMP type as the opponent does reach that second Ice Punch. We grab the shield from the opponent, and at this point, I'm pretty happy to let the Haxorus go down. Hopefully, Rayquaza can still do a lot of damage in this matchup, and let's just see what they've got in the back. So we come in here, we go for the Dragon Tail farm down, we get the farm down before they make it to an Ice Punch, but unfortunately they have got an Alolan Sandslash and an Ampharos in the back, so they just fully hard counter our back line. Not a lot we can do here. We go for the Hydro Cannon, that does quite a lot of damage. I'm going to possibly let the first move go through. They go for Trailblaze, and they actually won't make it to another charge move, but because I let that go through, not a lot we can do there, and unfortunately we just lose that game. So GG's to that opponent. But into the next game we see another Ampharos, this time in the lead, so I'm actually going to stay in initially, then swap into my Haxorus. I don't really care if they go for a Brutal Swing, it's not going to do too much damage, I can't afford to shield it, but they actually go for a resisted Thunder Punch there, so I'm going to go for a Breaking Swipe on the CMP tie with this Charizard. We could of course be running Surf, so that is probably why the opponent does shield there. We're going to let the Dragon Claw go through. It was a CMP tie. They are now debuffed, but I probably should be shielding a Blast Burn anyway, so we come back in with the Empoleon. We're going for the Waterfall farm down, but they do make it to a Blast Burn before we do get that full farm down, so we're going to shield that up, go for one extra Waterfall when they come back in with their Ampharos, and this Hydro Cannon is going to do quite a lot of damage here. The opponent lets it go through. We come in with the Rayquaza, and once again can't really afford to shield this. I don't know what they've got in the back. and it's actually a Shadow Swampert, so this is really good for us. We're going to go for the Breaking Swipe immediately, once again throwing just before they make it to the Hydro Cannon, but also making sure to throw on good timing. At this point with the debuff, I should be able to live a Hydro Cannon, and we do barely live it. I don't want to risk going for one extra Dragon Tail there, so we go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, and we're actually able to fully fast move farm them down, the opponent recognizing that it's game over for the Ampharos, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, rough lead as we see a Virizion, so we save swap into our Haxorus and we're met with a Walrein. Now, this is a matchup where I actually don't want to flip switch advantage. All I want to do is put them into a range where I can Waterfall, farm them down before they make it to a potential Earthquake. So we shield the first move here. We're going to go for Breaking Swipe number 2 on the CMP tie as the opponent reaches the Icicle Spear, and the opponent does choose to throw straight away. So at this point, don't really want to go down all shields just because Virizion can potentially run Stone Edge. We've seen already that one Virizion wasn't running it, but let's just not leave it to luck. We're going to come in, get the farm down with the Empoleon. This is going to be a double debuffed, double resisted Icicle Spear. It does literally nothing, and that allows us to make it to a Drill Peck up against Virizion coming back in. Drill Peck grabs a shield from the opponent, so we swap into Rayquaza. This could be a Stone Edge. They have overfarmed quite a lot. It is the Stone Edge, so we do correctly shield it up, and they come in with another Ampharos. So we do have quite a significant energy advantage, and we can debuff their attack immediately. They're going to go for a charge move straight away. This is going to be a Brutal Swing, which does a decent amount of damage here, but we can overfarm by one Dragon Tail there. Go for the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe, going to be taking out the Ampharos. I'm actually going to commit to the Aerial Ace. The opponent makes it to a charge move. If this is Leaf Blade, we might even live this. No, we don't live that, unfortunately, even though it's double resisted, but it doesn't matter. We can now definitely live a Leaf Blade up against our Empoleon and make it to the Drill Peck in time, and this is double super effective. Drill Peck will be enough damage to take out the Virizion, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Empoleon into a Shadow Steelix in the lead. So really good for us. The opponent save swaps into Cresselia. Now this is not ideal for me at all. I don't really have a good response to a Cresselia that isn't my own Empoleon, and I need to save Empoleon for that Shadow Steelix. So I'm going to let the first move go through, and then I'm going to try to catch the next move onto my Haxorus. I'm not able to do so. Really unfortunate. Also, I probably should come in with my Rayquaza instead, just because when they get a Moonblast, I'm going to have to go for 2 more Breaking Swipes here to take out this Cresselia, and it's just not ideal for me. But we're going to let this move go through. With the debuff, I will now live a Moonblast, and I will make it to another Breaking Swipe. This should hopefully put them into range where we can just counter, farm them down before they make it to another move, and we are able to do exactly that. They come in with the Steelix, and we're going to come in with our our regular Empoleon. Shadow Empoleon doesn't exist yet. They have a Jellicent in the back. Now this isn't looking too bad for us. We do make it to the Breaking Swipe as the opponent does throw their first charge move. They let the Breaking Swipe go through. I'm going to have to let this move go through as well. Save my shield for the Empoleon. They go for that Shadow Ball straight away, and they make it to a last second Surf just before we make it to our second Breaking Swipe. But Surf barely doesn't take us out. We make it to the Breaking Swipe, and Breaking Swipe, we're actually going to undercharge it so I can get the farm down with my Empoleon, and let's see if Empoleon can clutch out this game. This should be a very dominant matchup for our Empoleon up against the Shadow Steelix, but here you're going to see Breaking Swipe is just absolutely busted. I let the first one go through there. Maybe a bit questionable, but I guess this does force them to go for another Breaking Swipe as they want to debuff my attack here, and I am going to use my shield, but I'm so low that I don't know if I will make it to the Hydro Cannon, and we barely don't make it in time, and I was double debuffed, so I'm not actually sure if Hydro Cannon would have taken them out. I think it would have done, but they're able to Dragon Tail farm me down anyways. So GG's to that opponent, and into the next game here, we're actually going to go for a Breaking Swipe immediately, throwing on Alignment, which is something I don't typically do, but I just wanted to get off the Breaking Swipe as soon as I could. I'm going to shield the Moonblast anyway, so you can say that that probably was pointless, but we're able to swap and catch the next Moonblast onto my Empoleon. The Moonblast was debuffed as well, but it does debuff my attack here. I will still go for a Drill Peck, and Drill Peck is still double super effective, so we're probably going to grab a shield. We do grab that shield, which is really nice, but the opponent is going to massively overfarm in this matchup. We're just going to let the move go through. Sacred Sword takes out the Empoleon. Now, I do believe they also have a potential Stone Edge loaded, but a little bit of lag there from both ends. We go for one extra Dragon Tail. Aerial Ace takes out the Virizion, and the opponent comes back in with the Cresselia. We're going to go for a Breaking Swipe. It looks like the opponent is lagging once again. Oh yeah, also, we are running a different team now. I forgot to mention that, but they've got a Registeel in the back, and we have a Tapu Bulu in the back because I was just getting sick and tired of Steelix, so I ran 2 Pokemon that should be dealing with it fairly comfortably. Of course, Empoleon does take super effective damage from the Earthquake, but Tapu Bulu walls everything Steelix can throw, and as well, it does wall this Registeel as well. I mean, Grass Knot, Dazzling Gleam, going to be resisted, but so is the potential Focus Blast or a Zap Cannon, so I'm going to let the next move go through. They won't be able to lock on Farm Me Down. They do get the attack drop, which is a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter. We go for the Grass Knot, and I am anticipating the opponent going to try and catch the next move onto their Cresselia, and I'm able to get the full farm down, and the opponent recognizing there's not a lot they can do, so they concede the match there. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we see Shadow Dragonite in the lead, so I'm going to swap into my Empoleon after 4 Dragon Tails, catching the Dragon Claw, and I am successful in that. So Dragon Claw, not going to do much damage. The opponent comes in with Golisopod, so that's fine with me. I will be able to resist all the charge moves that they can throw, although Shadow Claw are going to start to add up here in this matchup. So I'm going to let the first move go through as well. With Shadow Claw, they are a lot spammier than we are, so they will be able to outpace me to the next charge move, but I will end up shielding anyways because I want to grab the final shield with this Drill Peck up against the Golisopod, and if they do shield this up, I'm going to swap immediately back into my Rayquaza, go for the Aerial Ace, and this will be enough damage because it is super effective to take out the Golisopod, and the opponent has a Tapu Fini in the back. Now they will be able to Water Gun Farm Me Down, but I don't care. I can go for the Aerial Ace. This isn't really necessary either because I can come in with my Tapu Bulu. All I have to do is correctly shield up a Moonblast. Dragonite isn't going to be able to make it to a Hurricane even if they were running it, so I'm looking very safe. All I have to do, shield this move. The opponent full sends the Moonblast. They swap back into the Shadow Dragonite. I'm going to go for the Grass Knot here. Might as well throw it, and the opponent will not be able to make it to a second Moonblast. Grass Knot takes out the Dragonite, and the opponent just concedes the match there. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Aurorus in the lead. This is absolutely awful. They do core break my team. I swap into my Tapu Bulu, and this is just not good whatsoever. I'm going to let the move go through. I will take a shield advantage, but they can just fully Powder Snow, farm me down, and I'm not in a great position because I will still be switch locked even when I do come in with my Empoleon. So I'm going to wait out the switch lock as long as possible. So let's see, we're going to come in with the Empoleon, and the opponent is eventually going to swap into their Golisopod once again. So we go for the Drill Peck straight away. I can also tank a charge move, so I'm probably going to stay in as much as I can. But no, we actually swap into the Rayquaza. I'm not so sure about this play, but we're going to tank it anyways. They go for Liquidation, so probably not running Aerial Ace this time around, otherwise they would throw it since it is neutral damage. But they go for another Liquidation. They don't get any debuffs. Doesn't really make a difference here. We're going to go for that Breaking Swipe as soon as possible as they come in with the Aurorus, and we wouldn't live more than one Powder Snow anyway, so they take us out with Powder Snow number 2. We're going to have to let this move go through. They're probably going to go for the Meteor Beam, and that does quite a lot of resisted damage, and they've got a Jellicent in the back, so it doesn't look good for us. We're going to go for the Drill Peck. We're going to play it out anyways, just in case somehow we win if the opponent tries to go straight Shadow Ball. But if they're smart, they should just be going Surf here. Surf won't quite be enough damage to take us out from this range, but after a few more hexes, then it definitely will take us out here. And even then, I don't think 2 Drill Pecks will be enough damage to take them out, and we don't get there anyways. So unfortunately, not a lot I could have done up against that team, but GG's to that opponent there. So going into the next game, we see Rayquaza into another Shadow Dragonite. So going to play this out exactly the same as last time. Go for the swap, and the opponent swaps at the exact same time into a Galarian Weezing. And now, since I've seen Galarian Weezing already, I'm pretty confident that the other Pokemon is going to be Tapu Fini in the back. And if it is, then Tapu Bulu should be feasting up against this team. We go for the Hydro Cannon here, and the opponent is going to go for another Overheat, so I do correctly shield it up the second time around. We come out with a charge move loaded. Honestly, I don't know why I go for a Hydro Cannon here, because Hydro Cannon is resisted, but I thought like, oh, it's going to do more damage if they don't come in with the Dragonite, but it is a Tapu Fini in the back. And here as well, I swap, I end up accidentally catching a charge move onto my Tapu Bulu, which is not what I wanted either. Honestly, it would have preferred if Empoleon just went down there, and then I could have come in with the Rayquaza, either farmed down the Dragonite, or they would have farmed me down, but we would have put them into range where we can just Bullet Seed farm them down. But here we're going to go for another Grass Knot. I don't expect them to shield, so I do actually undercharge this. They do end up shielding anyways, and they throw their energy, so that is perfect for me. We're now going to come back in with the Empoleon. The opponent can just fully Water Gun farm me down from this range, so we're going to go for that Drill Peck and then swap into my Rayquaza. Remember, we do have a Breaking Swipe loaded, so we're just one Dragon Tail away from the Aerial Ace. They're probably not expecting the immediate damage from the Aerial Ace, and they no shield it. Obviously, they've got no shields anyways, but now they can go full back-to-back surfs. Doesn't matter. We shield it, we get the Dragon Tail through, and we're able to farm down the Dragonite and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Giratina in the lead. The opponent safe swaps into Cobalion. This is not ideal for us. We actually don't have a great response to Cobalion whatsoever, so not ideal. We're going to go for the Aerial Ace, and it does connect, which is nice for us. The opponent going to go for a charge move, and they are going to bait with the Sacred Sword, which is really unfortunate. I'm going to have to go for the Aerial Ace immediately. I hope this KOs, or I grab a shield here, and it does neither, unfortunately, and so I'm going to double shield my Rayquaza. Not ideal for me whatsoever. They come in with a Steelix, so I'm going to swap into Empoleon, and now I do feel a little bit better about this, since they do have a Steelix in the back, and I've got Tapu Bulu. Here we're going to go for these Drill Pecks. Drill Pecks really not going to add up that much, and they are running Shadow Claw this time around instead of Dragon Breath, and probably not going to be running the Shadow Sneak either, but they do go for Ancient Power, which is still resisted. Honestly, they probably should just go for the Dragon Claw, but they're going to be fishing for the boost since they can very comfortably tank these waterfalls. We're going to let the next move go through. Of course, we've still got 0 shields remaining. We are going to go for the Drill Peck just before they farm me down, and then I'm actually going to swap into my Rayquaza here just to try and get extra Dragon Tail damage onto the Giratina, and we do get that damage, which is really nice. We actually live the Dragon Claw, which is less ideal for us since they do get 1 extra Shadow Claw in, and I think they're already at another charge move, so we're going to come in with the Tapu Bulu. They swap into their Steelix, and we're going to go straight for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot is neutral damage. We do resist everything they're typically going to throw. If it's Earthquake or Breaking Swipe, doesn't really matter. The opponent goes for the Earthquake. That does not do that much damage, although Tapu Bulu a bit classier than I thought it was. We're going to go for another Grass Knot. Grass Knot gets them incredibly low here, and I should be able to fully Bullet Seed farm them down. They can go for Breaking Swipes at this point, but they're not going to do much damage whatsoever, and at this point, I am fully expecting the opponents to swap straight away into the Giratina, so we're going to stop, go for the Dazzling Gleam, but for whatever reason we don't get it off, and that really pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, we end up losing because of it, and yeah, that really ruined my mood, but GG's to that opponent there. I'm not sure if I was just a bit too slow to react there, but I fully anticipated it, so we went for that Dazzling Gleam, and we just weren't able to get it off. But into next game, we see a Greninja in the lead. The opponent's going to safe swap into Drapion, so we respond with our Empoleon, and this is looking pretty good for us. Although if it's double poison in the back, then obviously Tapu Bulu is going to struggle quite a lot, but Tapu Bulu does very well up against Greninja, so here all we have to do really is fight for switch advantage. We let the next crunch go through, no debuff once again, which is really nice. We're now going to go for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon takes out the Drapion from this range, and they come back in with Greninja, so we're going to go for the Drill Peck immediately, throwing just before they make it to the Night Slash. The opponent lets it go through. They're going to overfarm quite considerably, but that's fine with us. We can let this move go through. Night Slash takes us out. We come in with our Tapu Bulu, and they've got Cresselia in the back. Now, they did switch there, so I can just go straight for the Grass Knot, and it is good timing as it was a one-turn swap. And then I'm going to come in with my Rayquaza, go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, debuff their attack, and I will be able to outpace them to the next Breaking Swipe as well. So we shield up the Moonblast. Luckily, no attack debuff this time around as we go for Breaking Swipe number 2. Breaking Swipe is going to get Cresselia very low, and I did consider shielding at this point, but I'm going to let the move go through. Moonblast takes out the Rayquaza. The opponent swaps into Greninja, but they get Bullet Seed farmed down, and then they just concede the match there. So I don't know if Greninja did have a charge move loaded, but they didn't get it off, and they just concede. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.